spelling friends. These are the homework notes for list E for level 1. So, phonogram review day 1. What that says is number piles sort by number of sounds. So on the ground you're going to have a place or on the table where they can put them. I think we've done this before, but B says one sound, F says one sound. So as you're flipping through the cards, if they come upon a letter like they would put that in the one sound pile. Z and G, J, they say 2 sounds, or F. So as you're going through, make a 2 sound pile. A, U, A, E, E, D, T. Those are all 3 sounds, or you have ones like ow, o, oo, ah. So you just have one set for each set of cards that has the same number of sounds. Then phonogram quiz, they're the ones for you to continue to learn to write there. And then we've got a little snafu here that kind of ties in the chart additions for day 1 and day 2, as well as something I'm not sure if you noticed, which is on the top of class day, and that is P8. And P8 is a reference chart that we haven't built yet. So for now, you're just going to disregard anything that says P8 because we need to work on that in class together next week. But for P3 for short and wash, that's our sh page. And you're going to open it up, and we know that SH says sh at the beginning of a base word, so they'll write short there. And we know that SH says sh at the end of a syllable, so they'll write wash there, just like Henry did this morning with his writing and his marking. And then for your review activity for day 1, there's the opposites worksheet. So you'll take that out of the set of worksheets that I gave you and have the kiddos fill that in. If you have the blue book open next to you, if you don't know what the opposite of it is, just glance over real quick and give them a hint. Don't get stuck there and waste time on that. Just tell them the thing to write and have them write it. Have them read their log to practice our think to spell, think to say manner of going through things, and have them do a few review words. For day 2, table sort, for the review activity, if we don't remember, that's where we lay out the cards and you say, can you find G-J? And they find and say G-J. Can you find A-A-Ah? And they find and say A-A-Ah. And then you keep filling in the cards until you get through all the ones that they have learned so far. Which backs me up a little bit to the thing I was saying from that we missed on class day, which hopefully you've been working on. P2 is the page where we P2 is the page where we collect our multi-letter phonograms. And so you'll see at the top of your list, it says K, 2-letter K, O that we may and may not use at the end of English words, and edit. We need to continue to add those multi-letter phonograms to our multi-letter phonogram page, which looks like this. I believe I've sent you a copy of it. If I haven't, let me know and I'll send you another one. So we're just writing the multi-letter phonograms, and then in red next to it, we write how many sounds that one makes. So Henry and I haven't added the next 5 for our week yet, but those next 5 will go right under here in these spaces. And so I write them on the lesson plan for you in the order that they need to be in. And if you don't know where I'm getting that from, it's at the top of every lesson plan that I've given you to date. So when we get to the review activities for day 2, now that I've gone a little bit out of order, I looked at the worksheet and I just wasn't really liking the worksheet that I assigned to you guys. So I came up with a different supplemental activity. So what I'm going to have you do is get a board, and you're going to write on it verbs and not verbs. And as we know from CC, a verb is a word that asserts an action, shows the state of being, links 2 words together, or helps another verb. Or you can say to the kiddos, they're the things that we can do. We can always check for a verb by putting the word I in front of something. So if we look at our list E, our first word is thick. So we can say, is this a verb? I thick. No, that doesn't make sense. So we're not going to write that in our verbs column. We're going to write it in our not verbs column. So we write th, k. Okay, then we move on to our next word. Look is our next word. I look. Does that make sense? It does, because look is a verb. So we're going to write look over here. O, k. And you go all the way down. So let's pick another. We have see, e is another verb. And we have love, o, a, v, silent final e. But then over here we have short. Short is not a verb. I don't short, right? Or I don't toy. Toy is not one. Toy. But the thing we do want to carry forward from the worksheet that I had assigned is the idea that when we conjugate a verb, we'll make the verb match with who is doing the action, that in English, to the third person singular form, we have to add an S to it. And so in List C, we learned our pronouns, our subject pronouns. So we should, in our arsenal of SWR materials, have cards. Just a moment, Peanut. We have cards that have our pronouns on them, hopefully. So we have our he, and we have our I, and we have our you, and we have she and they, the ones that we learned from there. So after you have the kiddos divide their words into verbs and not verbs, you're going to pull out your pronoun cards and flip them over and have them pick up the first one. So the first one I have is they. Now, they is one that Mom, well, we can't see it, but trust me, it says they on there. They is one that they didn't learn to write because they hadn't learned A, E, I yet. So if you have, you can write it so they can practice, or you can forget it. So let's forget it for a second. So I'm going to pick up the next one. I. It says I. So I'm going to go to my verbs and I'm going to say, I look outside. But then if I pick one up and I get to she, where's my little she card there? So hard to see here. Sorry about that. She, and I go to my next verb, she, does she see or she sees? She sees. So we're starting to practice this conjugation. So what we're going to have them do is they're going to write she sees. And they're just going to practice forming that. Now they've already written the word, so if you just want to go through this orally, you can. But I think it's a good exercise to have them write the third person singular form a couple of times. So if we come up to our next one, it, maybe it is our dog. It, and our next verb is love. It love or it loves? We would say it loves. So then they would practice writing it, u, a, v, it loves. So just orally go through, and if you get to the end of your pronoun cards and you still have verbs left, because there are more verbs than these, then you just shuffle them up again, then you take it out and we say you look, or whatever the next one is. So they're practicing matching their pronoun with their verb and getting the appropriate form. And then you can write those out. That's your suggested sentences for that day. And then on day 3 Candyland review, I'll email this to you, but I made Candyland cards that have all of the phonograms, and they're all in different colors. So rather than using the cards that come with the Candyland game, you can use phonogram cards. So you put all the cards face down and you draw it, and if it's a-a-ah and it's orange, then they get to, because a-a-ah has 3 sounds, they get to move 3 orange spaces if they know that that says a-a-ah. So they go a-a-ah. And then brother or sister picks it up and they flip it over, and let's say it's yellow, ah-oh-oo. Ah-oh-oo makes 3 sounds, and it's yellow, so they get to go ah-oh-oo. So that's fun if you have time for it. And then you're continuing to do your phonogram quiz, and you're doing your test with some review words. And if you have any questions, please let me know.